to help me.
What is that?
Okay, so we're recording our percent problems. And we're going to set these up just like we did our other percents. So I'm going to show y'all, well, actually, I don't think we've done this yet. We're going to set up a percent table, and then I'm going to show y'all how to solve them. So this is the table we're going to set up. And we set this up just to keep you straight on what goes where. Okay? So this column is our percent, and this row is our total down at the bottom. Okay? Absolutely. So Jane took a test. The test had 130 questions. All the questions have equal value. She answered 104 of the questions correctly. What percent of the questions did Jane answer correctly? Okay? So whenever we're doing percentage, we always can fill in this bottom square on our column, because what is percentages out of? 100. So total percent is always going to be 100 right there. So now let's read our problem. We had 130 questions, so questions go up here. And we're trying to find out percent correct. So now we have our little table labeled. Okay? So now reading our problem, the test had 130 questions, so the total amount of questions was 130. Where do you think that goes?
Questions.
Questions on the top or bottom?
Bottom.
Why?
Because it's total.
So you just line up, right, now that we have our table labeled, we line up questions total so we know it goes in this square. So that was 130.
Is this kind of like lattice? Like when you multiply lattice?
I don't know, I'm not familiar with that, it might be. So then it says she answered 104 correctly, so where does that go?
Over. Oh, under the questions one.
Correct, questions. And so the one we have left, what percent of questions did Jane answer correctly? Correct percent. Would you agree that that is the one we're trying to find?
Yes.
So what are we going to put in there?
4%.
What are we going to put in there?
Oh.
It's our unknown is what we're looking for, so what do we put?
Oh, so it's like, it's like,
So what do we put in here if it's our unknown, we're looking for it?
An X.
Very good.
Oh, wait, I got it right?
Yeah. Okay, so I want y'all to look at that problem, our little table, and I want you to notice that this is like two fractions.
That's what I was trying to say.
I knew what you're trying to say, Taylor.
Couldn't get it into words.
So this is like two fractions, right, with this line being our equal sign?
Right.
So whenever we have, I want you to think back to solving equations, we want to get this x by itself. We want to get rid of this 100. What are we gonna do?
Divide. Multiply.
By what? We're going to multiply by what? 100, right? We do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. So 100 over 100 becomes our what?
10, no. 1.
Our big 1. So what do we have left on that side?
X.
Okay. Then we're going to multiply 104 times 100. And then it's divided by what? What's on the bottom?
130.
Okay, so we have our two ratios, right? And then we solved, we got our equation. So to solve for x, it's going to be 104 times 100 divided by 130. So let's go back to our table, and this is how we're going to solve. Once we got our table, we have our table filled in. You multiply the numbers that are across from each other like that. And then what do you think we're going to divide by?
130.
So x equals 104 times 100 divided by 130. Wasn't that a whole lot easier than doing this?
Yes.
So once you set up the table, the great thing about the table is it helps you get everything in the right spot because everything's labeled. Then you know that the numbers that are across from each other, you multiply together and you divide by the one that's left. So let's solve for x.
So, like, you can do, these algebra problems to find these ones too.
Sometimes, yeah. Certain kinds. So what is 104 times 100?
1,040.
Good job. Yeah, what Kai said.
Yeah, you just have to add the two zeros, right?
Wait, 10,040?
It's 1040. Add two zeros.
Good job, Kai.
So then, if you have 10,400 over 130, that's what we have, right? Can we reduce that before we even divide?
Yes.
What would we do?
Knock off the 2 zeros.
Knock off the two zeros on the end. Now, top in, bottom out. Now, that's a lot easier to divide than 130 into 10,400, right? So how many times 13 go into 104?
12 times, I don't know. 9 times. Maybe.
I think 8. Somebody said 8. Let's try 8. 8 times 3 is 20, what?
4.
Carry my 2. 8 times 1 plus 2.
Is that right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, we did the math. Bring down your 0. Of course, 13 goes into 0. How many times?
0 times
So x equals
80%.
80%. Very good, Jonah. A lot of people just said 80, but we were looking for the percentage, right? Okay, so wasn't that a lot better than having to do it this way?
Oh, Jane.
Okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, let's set up our second one. Our second one is another.
So she made an 80 on her test.
She made an 80 on her test, correct?
That's how teachers do that? Like,
Yeah, it's a percentage.
Well, most teachers have an easy grade.
that is like
Yeah.
crazy.
No, don't, because most teachers have easy graders. It takes all of 2 seconds.
It's not hard. I don't have to, yeah.
Maybe they just don't feel like it one day.
But they do have 2 graders.
Okay, guys. The second one is another question problem, so we're going to set it up the same way, and we're going to label it the same way. Okay, so who can help me fill in my chart, my table? Yes, sir.
Okay, so there could be, in total on the right one, 60 we go in there because there's 60 total questions. Oh, no, I'm looking at 3, never mind. Let's see. I don't know, never mind.
Well, first of all, what can we put in before we even read the question?
100 in the total.
100 and what total?
The left.
Percent total? We can put our 100 in our percent total before we even read the question.
The percent, we can put 95.
And then it says 95%, and where do we put that?
The top left.
Correct percent?
Yeah.
And then she answered 38 of the questions correctly, so where do we put that? Yes, sir.
Top right.
Top right? And then what do we have left? Total questions?
That's your X.
And that is what they want us to find, right? So this is our x. So what are we going to multiply together?
138.
So x equals 100 times 38. Is that it? Am I done?
No, you have to divide by 95.
Divided by 95. So x equals what? 3,800 divided by 95.
Is there like a secret sign for dividing like there is for multiplying in these problems?
A secret sign, what do you
Like
mean?
multiplying, you put a dot and that means multiplying.
A slash, maybe.
Miss,
Like,
secretive.
like, it's not really secret, 3,800 divided by 95.
Well, no, but I just thought there'd be like an easier
Yeah.
having to do that.
Okay. So 95 goes into, doesn't go to 38, goes into 360 how many times?
360.
I'm sorry, 380. Keep me straight. Well, this is almost 100, right? So I'm thinking 4 too. 4 times 5 is what? 20? 4 times 9
36.
plus our 2?
38.
And then, of course, how many times 9 and 5 go into 0?
0. So it's 4.
How many problems were on the questions?
40 questions.
She only missed 2.
Gosh,
Good job, Jane.
pretty darn.
Jane is so smart.
Okay, 3 and 4, let's just set them up, and then I want y'all to complete 3 and 4 in your teams. Y'all might need to move around a little bit, but let's not move now. Okay, shh, guys, I said not now. Set up 3 and 4 first, and then I will tell you where you're going to move. Okay, because y'all just can't handle it. So set up our table. This one's is this another test problem?
Yes.
So I think we're going to label it the same. Jane's been taking a lot of tests, isn't she? I don't know. Okay, so what can I fill in before I even start reading my problem?
Yes, she's taking a college test.
What, huh? The 100 under percent total? So we can put that in there. Focus, please. Jane took a test. There's 60 problems on the test. Where do I put 60?
The bottom right-hand corner.
Questions total, 60. All the questions has equal value. She answered 55% of the questions correct. So, correct, percent. How many questions did she answer correctly? Is that what this is? Correct questions? That's our X. Okay, don't solve it yet. Move down to 4. Move down to 4.
Okay, why can't we solve it?
Because I want y'all to do it in a minute.
Oh, it's back to.
Tom and Susan went to dinner. They left a 15% tip. If the total cost of their meal was $28, what is the amount of tip they left? Okay, so this is no longer a question, right? But, I mean, it's not about test and questions. But we still have our percent column and our total row. So what are we going to put in our other, what's our the other labels going to be? Tip. Where do you think that goes? Up here?
The total, yeah.
Tip. And then total cost. So what would be this row?
The
Cost. Okay, so what? Help me fill it in.
total would go in 28. The cost.
Cost total,
Put the top left be
28. Is that what you said? What else can we fill in?
the top 15% tip.
15%, top left. What else can we fill in?
The 100.
The 100 of our percentage. So what do we have left? Tip cost, is that what they want us to find? The amount of the tip. So this will be our X. Okay, I want y'all to do 5. Let's set up 6 on the back first, and then I'm going to let y'all work in your teams. The girls softball teams has 5 seniors, 6 juniors, 4 sophomores, and 2 freshmen. Approximately what percent of the team are juniors?
This makes a lot more sense to me.
Huh?
This makes a lot more sense than you're not just like writing down random.
It's amazing when you know how to do it.
I couldn't figure out how to do that.
Okay, so it's still a percent total, so what can we fill in first? Without even reading the question. Or 100. And then what are they asking us to find? Percent of juniors. So this is going to go here. Juniors. What goes up here on this column over here?
Total team.
Total players. So players go up here. Actually, just players because our total. So
Is this
what are we going to put in down here?
Total players is,
we have
15, 17.
So how did y'all get 17 for total players? Okay, you added up your seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, right? And that equals 17, so our total players are 17. How many juniors do we have?
6. Who goes on the top?
What are we looking for? Percent of juniors? Okay. So in your teams, y'all three get together, and then you two move up. And so that'll be 4 over there, 3 over here. Caitlin, come over here, so we have 4 over here. And
What do we do with this, like, vocabulary?
Eddie can come over here.
I want you to turn it up, huh?
Eddie can come over here.
Eddie, go over there. Caitlin, go over there. So then we have 4, 4, and 4. Okay? Work in your teams. I want y'all to finish. Okay, just a second, sweetie. Finish 3 and 4, 5. Work 5 together. And then do as much as you can on the rest of it, because that's your homework. But we're going to come back together. We're going to do 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to leave this running, and then we'll come answer those in a minute. So I'm going to give y'all 5 minutes to do those. It's enough. Trust me, it's enough.
Oh, you're still recording that.
Huh?
You're still recording.
I know.
Okay.
It's okay.
Wait, where's Thomas?
So whoever's watching it, they'll have to, they'll just have to wait or fast forward to get the answers. I just want to have the answers on your form. Well, I know, I'm giving them time to work on it. I'm giving them time to work on it. So if they were watching this, they would need to pause it so they could work on it, right?
Wait, I have a question.
No, I think
On number 3.
What, babe?
Since there's no, since there's no number,
what's the answer?
for the X's on number 3, would you repeat the other thing? Like, would you do, 55 times 60?
Yeah.
You just do it.
We do the ones that are across each other. And then multiply those together and divide it out. Right?
Yeah, for this, you just multiply these two. So it's multiply these.
You multiply the two that are crossing each other, that doesn't have the x, and then divide by the one that's left. So x equals, yeah, we must be doing this way different than you were.
I never learned this.
I never used
So you multiply these two together, and then you divide by what's left. She'll learn, I'm sure, quickly.
Now I get it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
But you can cross off. So if you divide by 100,
Miss Hall.
What, babe?
on this one, couldn't you cross off both zeros and then it would be 33 over
I know what the answer is.
It's 13 cross off zeros, so it leaves one number as 1, so it's 33 over 1, which is 33. Guys, which one? I'm still on the first. I wonder if it's after me. She's answered one question correctly.
So tip is $4.20.
I'll be back.
And down here on the parts, on this problem down here, we're going to do our percent and our total. We know this is 100 always. Now let's read our question.
Can we play some Christmas music?
We have machine parts, a total of 340. So this is going to be our parts, and our total is 340. And 323 passed, so these passed.
Yes.
So we're looking for that. So our equation is
Question of questions. Percentage of questions.
Yeah.
It's okay, Tyler.
Why do I always put questions? I always put questions.
So if we divide that out, x equals 95%. But the question was, how many did not pass? So we have 100 out of, percentages out of 100 minus 95. So 5% did not
One of the zero
pass.
on 100 and the zero off of 420 to the simplest number.
Okay, so that gives you 5.
And then
And we set up number 6 for you.
4 times.
So that should give you enough to finish.